So this is the start of the Vogel's installation video. My videos are not about the installation. I just want to check how the brackets perform in a real life situation, perhaps with a more do-it-yourself installer. I'm not a professional, of course. If you do want to have a look at the installation video, I'll leave a link in the description and you can have a look at the Vogel's installation video there. So today we're checking out the TVM5845. Being Elite, it's a 15-year warranty. And having a look at the contents, the usual deal, some parts relate to the wall mounting, some parts relate to the TV mounting. And you'll notice the use of very little plastic in the packaging. That's typical of Vogel's. Vogel's always include a template for mounting the bracket on the wall. You'll notice that one of the holes is labeled as a keyhole. So the idea is that you put a bolt in the wall, you hang it, and then it gives you the ability to screw in the other 3 screws without having to hold the bracket against the wall. And then you have the Drill Right app, which we covered in the TVM5845 video. It's a good way of visualizing what the TV will look like on the wall. Then you have the instructions. Then we weighed the bracket, 4.7 kilos. And with the mounting, the part that mounts to the TV, it's 6.4 kilos. For some reason, as standard, all of those screws are screwed all the way in. So just screw them out until that point, and then you'll be able to slide the horizontal bars into place. You'll find in the packaging there's 2 screws near the Allen key. So these screw into those horizontal bars that sit at the back of the TV. In terms of vertical height, the TV bracket testing board is about the same as a 65-inch. So normally what an installer would do is they'd measure the distance from the first screw hole and the bottom of the TV, and then they'd ask the customer at what height you'd want the TV. So they'll just measure it from, say, the ground to the bottom of the TV. I marked the height and then I drilled. I actually missed a stud, which is a bit embarrassing. But anyway, drilled it again. Being a single arm Vogel's, the drill point will be about 40 mil off the center of the TV. I'm just putting some weight to see if it's steady. And the next thing we have to do is we have to level the bracket. I wouldn't use any of the included spirit levels. I used my own one, which is also not the best, but it's better than what you get. So it's slightly out. So this one, I really like it. It's got an Allen key to adjust the level. I prefer it over the other systems. So the TV board weighs about the same as a 55-inch, 15 kilos, and there's no sag. Let's add 10 kilos. So we're at a 65-inch, and checking sag, there's also no sag. All right, we're going to add an extra 10 kilos. So now we're at 35 kilos, which is a 75-inch, and still it's fine. It's not drooping down. Now we're going to put on 45 kilos, which is the same as an 85-inch. And again, it's fine. There's no sagging. So it's supposed to sit 40 mil from the wall, and checking it, it seemed to be a bit more than 40 mil. I don't know if it's just the camera angles. And checking the maximum distance, it's meant to be 740 mil, and maybe it's also the camera angle, but I got slightly more than that. 740 mil is a really long arm, the longest of any of the Vogel series. So having a look at how that translates, let's use the LG QNED 86 as an example and see what angles we can pull with a 65, 75 and 85-inch. So the 65 is about 1452 mil wide. So if we halve that, 726 mil, then that's smaller than the arms of the Vogel's bracket. So yeah, it won't touch the wall. So the 75 is 1673 mil. So you can get a very good angle on a 75 also. And the last one would be an 85-inch. I think in LG's case, it's actually an 86. They're nearly 2 meters across, so you're not going to get it anywhere close to perpendicular on the 86-inch. Finally, I loaded it up to the full capacity of the bracket, which is 55 kilos. And as you can see, it still moves really in a fluid way. I would make two admissions. Number one, my cameraman has his finger over the camera. And number two, I did need to put in a fourth screw because it was slipping just a little bit. The thing to remember is the longer the arms, the more the leverage. So as you increase the distance by double, you're going to double the force on the wall. And that's why when you're using a fixed bracket, you'll notice that the screws at the top of the bracket are the ones under the most pressure because the top of the bracket is pulling away from the wall. Vogels have the quick instructions in the box, but they've also got the online manuals and you've got the installation videos, of course. So just make sure that you mount that mount properly to the wall because that's probably the most common issue that we get. And while on the topic, as far as the drills go, I mean, use those settings. You've got settings, for example, for screws. You've got settings for drilling into wood. And you've also got the hammer drill settings. And yeah, there are times in which you can perhaps use roofing screws, but just make sure that when you're using a full motion bracket that you use the proper screws because they'll be doing more work than, say, for a fixed bracket. So the time blew out a bit on this video, so I'll just quickly conclude by saying there's some great cable management. It's a beautiful looking bracket, really well engineered. Those hinges work even under 55 kilos without any issue. So yeah, really impressed by the bracket. Just make sure it's professionally installed and you won't have any issues.